Welcome to Talking Buffalo, featuring conversations with guests from around the world of sports, media, pop culture, and all things Buffalo. With your host, Patrick Moran.
All right, what is going on, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to another episode of Talking Buffalo, your weekday daily driver for Buffalo sports talk and more. My name is Patrick Moran. Big thank you to everybody out there, as always, for watching, for listening, following, subscribing. I do appreciate y'all very, very much. If you're listening to this on the audio side, it's probably sometime Wednesday morning or afternoon. If you're watching this on the video side, you may be catching this live. We are late here, 9:30 p.m. on a Tuesday night. I have with me in studio, first time, it's been a minute, man, my guy, longtime friend, recurring guest, lifelong Buffalo Bills fan. Tell him, Bucks, man, what's going on, dude?
What's up, man? I thought you had a bunch of things to plug. I thought you were going to just do that before you asked me what's up. So I wasn't
ready. You want the plugs
first? I wasn't ready for what's up.
All right, we'll do that. On the show, live, actually, we're going to be live. So we're in studio live tonight. The next couple nights, I'm actually going to be on the road live. Wednesday night, Sunny Reds. I'm going to have longtime Sports Talk radio show host Howard Simon, Buffalo Bills beat reporter Matt Perino. They're going to be with me live at Sunny Reds. And then the very next night, Thursday, we're going to be at Imperial Pizza. I'm going to be joined by Buffalo News, Bills beat reporter Jay Skursky and Nate Gary from WGR 550. That's over the next couple nights. Also going to be doing something that I've never done on any of these live shows before. So now in the past, if you came out to see the show, say hi or whatever, once we started, you really couldn't hear anything going on. But now we're going to actually have some sound. We got a speaker, and we're going to start broadcasting these live shows out at the bars. So if you're a Bills fan, a sports fan, and you happen to be in the house, you'll be able to listen to a live Talking Buffalo. Does that excite you, buddy?
No, I'll tell you why. It's because I'm not allowed to come. I wouldn't
say not allowed. I would say
I'm not a preferred patron.
It's not encouraged.
It's not encouraged to say the least. But I'm excited for your shows, for you. Those are fun guys to talk to, and the fact that you built enough of a profile and goodwill with people, aka pandering Pat.
That's fair.
you get some good guys to talk to. So I hope to go. They're definitely the main course for I use this reference when texting today. They're definitely the main course for your Bills opening week. Which got me to thinking, like, if I were a shitty appetizer, what kind of shitty appetizer would I be?
I'm not really an appetizer guy. Like breadsticks, I don't think breadsticks are shitty. Is that really an appetizer to you?
Not really. Like I'm thinking more like my mom's holidays or just holidays in general. I'm not going to put myself up there with like pigs in a blanket or something like that. That'd be reaching a little too high for an appetizer. I think.
What do you consider yourself? What kind of appetizer are you?
That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm getting at here.
Okay.
Probably like celery with cream cheese.
So, do you spend all day thinking of that, dude?
Not really. But it's always been a staple in my family, and it's really a hit or miss appetizer. Like, am I in the mood for fucking celery and cream cheese? Sometimes some people may know it better for using peanut butter as opposed to the cream cheese. But in my crew, we've had this celery and cream cheese appetizer with like some paprika sprinkled over the cream cheese. And it definitely passes as a shitty appetizer. I mean, I tear them up because, dinner's always much later than I want it to be when I show up somewhere. But that's about all I give myself. I am definitely not on the matinee of, this week in Talking Buffalo, but I'm good with that. I'm good. I'm happy to have the slot. All right. With you, because I've just been wanting to talk some Bills shit.
I know you
as much as I hate the fact that, it's all I really get to do with you once the season starts, which we're going to have to talk about, by the way. Like right now, I'm a hold-in. Okay, just so you know. Can I get a little more room on this? There you go. Yes, thank you. Right now, I'm a hold-in. I'm not sure what my Sundays look like, so I'll get back. I'll get back to you on that. But I wanted to rap a little bit about what I see in this team heading into the year, and it's a little different, if not a lot different, than the last time I spoke on them, which I think was, certainly pre-camp.
Yeah, it was before training camp started.
So yeah, like an idiot. I've pushed for this, even though, by the time I got here after a 6 a.m. start to the day with a kid's first day and another kid's first day tomorrow, I could have crashed on your couch.
I was going to say, if I had the ability to have like a second camera and get some, what do you call it, B footage, it would have been you at 9:26, 4 minutes before we go live, half asleep on the couch. I was like, oh, so we're going to get the high energy bucks for this live podcast.
Well, listen, though, I want to get right after the Bills. I definitely do. All right. But there was one other piece that I would be remiss if I didn't bring up in the early part of this podcast, and hopefully you won't. I don't think you'll take offense to it. I don't think you'll lose listeners to it. I do think I'll catch a little backlash because it's not a real popular thing with some people that I share plenty of opinions with. But I have my first regular podcast listen.
What? Who? Is it sports? What is it?
It is.
So you're talking about regular, you mean a podcast that you're listening to more than just once in a blue moon?
Correct.
Something,
Correct.
Really?
Yeah.
I am intrigued. I have no idea what you didn't tell me about this. What is it? Obviously it's not this show.
It's not. Here's how it happened. I'll be brief. I was excited for college football to come out, the NCAA game on PlayStation. All right, it had some serious hype, and for the first time in forever, it had the names. And I mean, I'm a gamer, man. This thing's been off for like 10 years, and it got hyped like crazy. On the old Twitter. So probably within 2 days of being launched, that I had the free trial and stuff like that, and I'm playing it and I'm having a blast with it. But I don't know who anybody is. I don't know who's good. I don't know. The transfer portal is crazy. I wanted to get to know college football. I started with like Greg McElroy over on ESPN just to get a feel for some top 25s and stuff like that. And then I remember just how funny of a motherfucker I think Brandon Walker is over at Barstool.
Yeah.
And I started to throw on, they went by conferences, and I started to throw on their conference previews, and that was it, man. Walker just cracks me up. I know Barstool in general has a lot of bad press. A lot of it's deserved. You take a guy like me, I probably got some people that want to take my my lib card, from me. I get it. There's a lot of sexism, and I don't even think they employ black people. I mean, it stands against everything that I'm for. But they have strong content. They just have strong content, and for the first time ever, I decided to take that content beyond just the 3 to 5 minute clips, and I started listening to Walker, who leads, who's the head man on their
listen
their
or watch. Like, is it
listen?
So it's audio. Okay.
It's called Unnecessary Roughness, and he has a lot of fun anger. You know what I mean?
I know him well.
He's got a lot of fun anger. I love fun anger, and he's got no filter. And he cusses a lot on it, and they're well placed and hilarious. And that is, I don't know if I'll stay with college football throughout the year. I got some plays out there. I got some bets out there. Madden has started to dominate the video gaming a little bit, but I still play a big college game from time to time. I don't know if I'll stay plugged in, even for this year, let alone beyond this year. But getting back into knowing what's going on in the college football world and getting it delivered by someone who entertains me is noteworthy, especially when it's, I mean, man, podcast's been around forever. People spend their whole days listening to them. I never could.
I do.
This was my first one.
That's cool. Brandon Walker. So I mean, when I said I know him, I don't know him personally, but not even from college football. I don't know. You give a shit about wrestling.
Wrestling. He's a big wrestling guy.
I don't think it's
probably good.
His shows were great. I mean, he was part of the shtick when he was on his shows. Like, he would kind of be in character a little bit, especially some of the bad guy, the heel wrestlers. It made for a really fun listen. I don't really think he's doing the wrestling stuff.
He wants it back. He was pissed. He was pissed that that he lost Red. Like, he did a thing one time where he went through all the the pods and shows and stuff like that were shittier than wrestling, and that's the thing that kills me about him too, is he's got no problem, all right, hating on Portnoy. You got so many people over there that just kiss his ass nauseatingly. Walker's whole stick is shitting on him. That's funny, man. Yeah. I mean, that's funny. So don't tune out Talking Buffalo to tune in Necessary Roughness. But if you have any interest in college football, fair
enough.
That's where I ended up.
We're going to talk about the Bills positionally, kind of like a state of the roster. We're going to go through positions. Some won't really require much discussion. And then we're going to have a conversation a little bit about expectations of the team as well this year. Before that, though,
I want to grade our state of the rosters also. This crossed my mind as I was
positionally.
Yes.
Each position
gets a grade on our confidence out of 10 using the Portnoy pizza scale. All right. Decimals included.
So can I use even fractions then? I can say like 9.6. Can I do that?
Yeah, that's not a fraction. That's a decimal.
Whatever the fuck. All right, fine. You're right. I'm thinking in my mind, I was ready to clap back at you, but then I'm like, oh, well, actually, you're right there. All right, so we're going to do that quickly, though. So we're taping this again, or we're recording this, streaming this live around, 9:45 on Tuesday night. We don't know yet who the Bills captains are, and I don't give a shit about that, but they will probably be announced on Wednesday. We don't know the extent. We've had 0 injury updates now going into Tuesday night into Wednesday. I'm a little surprised about that. They never usually do on Tuesday. Tuesday is traditionally an off day during the season anyway. But Monday is usually a day where McDermott speaks to the media and he gives a little bit of an update. And then you have a little bit of I don't know if they have a full practice or not. But anyway, we didn't hear shit on Monday. I asked somebody from the media, I said, why no McDermott? And they said, because it's Labor Day. I'm like, well, what the fuck? They play on Christmas and they're not going to practice and talk to the media on Labor Day?
It's been a weird 4 day. I mean, it has gone silent, man. I mean,
it has on these injuries.
It's not just the injuries. I mean, they may be doing walkthroughs or having guys in the building and stuff like that, but they're showing nothing for these last 4 days or so.
Agreed.
No media portions, no interviews.
Agreed.
Nothing.
That'll change on Wednesday now. But yeah, to this point, that's
which is exciting. I'm excited. I'm like, yes, man.
I'd like to know a little bit of the state of the injuries.
They gave you a taste. They gave you a taste today, though. They gave you a taste.
Because that's the one piece of news that we did get on Tuesday. The Bills dropped their official or unofficial depth chart, which, by and large ends up meaning shit. But there are a couple things of note that I found interesting, and I know you saw this on Twitter as well. So, and I don't have a graphic to put up, especially if you're listening, doesn't matter. But Damar Hamlin right now is the starting free safety on their depth chart, which is that didn't surprise me. But Cole Bishop right now is the backup at free safety. Then on the other side, Taylor Rapp is starting, which that's been since day one. But they had Mike Edwards as the backup at strong safety. I found that a little bit peculiar. Other things I thought were relatively interesting. Braylon Spector is the backup will right now behind Dorian Williams. And my first thought was, I think Dorian might have a short leash as a starter. We'll talk about that position more specifically, but also Nick Morrow is the backup Mike on the depth chart, and Buffalo Joe Andreessen is third. Matt Collins is starting at receiver right now ahead of Keon Coleman, which that does not surprise me at all. I fully expected that from the go. And then Ty Johnson right now is RB2 over Ray Davis, according to the depth chart. So, I mean, nothing like egregious or crazy, like, oh my God. But is there anything from that you're like, that took you back a little bit? You're like, this is not what I expected.
No, and I wish I could have had the chance to speak on it, before the depth chart came out, because everything that the Bills were doing led us down the path of there's something they're really liking about Hamlin or not liking about Mike Edwards right now in this camp. Now I know he's been dinged. All right. I'm not saying that he's not, working to come back or anything like that. But it's just, the Bills send, and all teams really do this, but there are messages being sent sometimes in these
depth charts,
and other setups that you see during the preseason. And it became pretty clear early on as Edwards wasn't on the field and then got back on the field, the depth charts like came out, obviously today's, but there was like another one in there that had him listed third while he was injured. And
right.
It's like, yo, bro, if you got a guy that you paid $4 million to probably be a starter and he's nicked up, but you think when he comes back, he's ready to roll for you, you're not going to sit there and place him third. There was something they didn't care for.
But he's behind Rap. That's what
I'm not going to sweat that. All right. That honestly, I'll go as far as to say that they're playing a little bit of, I still believe, even though it's not Hyde and Poyer anymore, I still believe that there'll be a lot of interchangeable looks from there. And I think what putting him behind Rap might be saying is he's a firm backup right now. Yeah, all right. Mike Edwards is just a firm backup. We're not gonna list him under Hamlin. All right. Because then everyone's gonna think, well, it's injury related, and when he's healthy, he steps up for Hamlin. I think they're just telling you that Mike Edwards is a backup for them right now. And
that surprises me a little bit.
And I think they could be telling you, that Cole Bishop might be next. Actually, they might even be telling you that more than anything.
Bishop's job at some point.
Bishop is next man up.
Interesting. Well, I was going to say we'll talk safety specifically when we get to them positionally, but yeah, I think that's pretty much the only thing that was even remotely. I know there were some people out there who thought Keon Coleman might be starting. That was not going to happen. Matt Collins is going to start. He's a veteran. He's a great blocker. And they like him more than a lot of fans do. Let's just put it that way. But we'll save that for the rosters positionally, which we'll kick that off right now. Let's start with the quarterbacks. You're going to talk during this more than me. I mean, I might have some thoughts to throw in too, but I mean, I'm doing this 5 times throughout the week. I don't want to regurgitate some of my same opinions over and over and over again with more shows still to come. But so we're going to talk the position, and you're going to say what your level of confidence between a 0 and a 10 is with these positions.
I thought it would be a good primer for you coming into the real shows later this week. I thought that'd be a good primer.
They're all real shows.
All right. There is going to be some doubt entering certainly week 1 and probably a couple beyond that as to the health of Trubisky and whether or not him or Mike White will be your number 2 on game day. So that's interesting. I'm not talking about Josh Allen at all. All right. I'm giving the grade based upon my confidence in Josh Allen, but I'm just talking about
I know what you're saying.
What we don't, know already. So there will be some intrigue there with the Trubisky White number 2 on game day thing. And then when Trubisky gets healthy, there will be some intrigue there as well. What I suspect is in the Bills' mind, in a perfect Bills world, they invested in Trubisky. He was an early signing. Josh likes him in the room. White would have to maybe even do something on the field, which we don't want to have. All right, to elevate ahead of Trubisky. Once he's healthy, I think the Bills will want to try to keep Mike White around on the practice squad. When that time comes, when Trubisky gets healthy. But I do think, barring some game action where he looks good and undeniably like a better quarterback than Mitch Trubisky, I think they're going to go off of just the history of time with them and in the NFL pedigree, if you want it, and Trubisky will be their guy. In the only question that lies in that room overall, because it's Josh's room above everything else, and this will set the bar obviously for how high I'm willing to likely go in these positional rankings. I've got the quarterback position at a 9.2. Extremely confident. Josh is gonna Josh. Won't be the reason that we don't win football games.
I'm going to put this one thing up one time. Our friend Ryan Galen commented, Josh, the only position that matters. All right, that's going to be Ryan's contribution for the duration of this podcast. I can tell you that right now. I don't agree with you about Mitch Trubisky and Mike White. I think at some point, Mike White's going to be the number 2. It hopefully is certainly not going to matter. I am just out on Mitch Trubisky. I'm stunned that they didn't cut him. I know he was hurt, so they couldn't just cut him. They didn't want to use an IR spot. So I'm thinking it might be feasible that he hangs around for a couple weeks until he's healthy. And then they cut him. If they see enough from Mike White over the next couple weeks, I'm out on him. The preseason is one thing. I thought he sucked at training camp. Awful, man. I don't know. I get what you're saying. I know the Bills like him, or Josh certainly likes him. That's one of his boys, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Mike White take that number 2 spot at some point when Mitch is healthy enough, or when they're confident enough that Mike White is up to speed to be the number 2, then they get rid of Mitch Trubisky. Like, let's say it's week 4 and he's caught up, and let's say for whatever stupid reason, the Seattle Seahawks want Mike White off their practice squad, and the Bills got to make a choice. I think they would cut Trubisky and keep Mike White. I just think Mike White at this point is a better, I don't know, I want to say he's a better fit because Mr. Trubisky's been here twice. So obviously the Bills consider him a good fit. I just don't think he's any good. I just think he's cooked.
Reasonable. It's perfectly reasonable.
Yeah. So you said 9.2. I'll go a little higher. I'll say 9.4 because he's the best player on the team. I think he's one of the top 2 to 3 quarterbacks in the NFL. So you can't go much higher than that. And I have a reasonable amount of confidence in Mike White. Once he's up to speed, if the Bills go through a 3-game stretch where Josh can't play, and it's not like the murderous part of the schedule, Mike White could get you 2-1. I used to think that way about Mitch Trubisky, but I don't feel that way anymore. So I'll go 9.4. Running backs up next. What do you got? This is a position, so we're clear, that this is one of the more interesting positions on this football team to me. Anyway, what are your thoughts with them?
I think it's a very stable position, but I do believe that it could be fluid as far as timeshare is concerned. I think that James Cook still has something to prove, maybe not to fantasy people, but probably to his head coach, man, because I there's just, there's something about Cook and McDermott that has been off at times.
I agree.
Now Brady comes along, and Brady gets the very best out of this player that we've ever gotten, and we should be looking at that obviously as a positive, if not, something that could potentially be even better than it was over the course of last year's 17 games. If you get that sort of production out of Cook over a whole season like you got with Brady, you got something. But I think there's a lot of people out there, and count me among them, who think that Ray Davis has a chance to get carries from Cook. If Cook should falter, especially giving up the ball, dropping passes, the things that have plagued him at times. So, if he finds his way into Sean McDermott's doghouse, it's possible that someone could be there to that's going to keep him there. Now, that person, no matter what they may list as their number 2 running back on the depth chart, that person is not Ty Johnson. That person is Ray Davis. Even though, you could argue that Davis could potentially, if truly he's the number 3, running back on this depth chart, and it doesn't play special. He could be scratched. He could be might not get a jersey some game days, but. If there were an injury or if there were ineffectiveness or anything like that, it's not Ty Johnson who's going to come in, and spell the bigger shares. It's likely to be Ray Davis. And I think some people think that's possible. And some people may feel like maybe not now, but when it happens, some people may be happy that it did.
Yeah. Look,
I'll grade it. I'll
what's your grade? Confidence level grade.
Yeah. It's 8+ speaks to a fair amount of confidence. I'm at a 7.9 just because it could get unsettled if I'm not a James Cook. I'm not a huge James Cook
You're
guy.
not fully sold on him.
Not fully sold on Cook. So I got it coming in, a little under that confidence threshold. But
if I would have told you a year ago, and for the record, I agree with you about James Cook completely. But if I would have told you, and we did this preview 12 months ago exactly, and we were on the running back position, and I said, all right, Tone, James Cook is going to end up 4th in the NFL in rushing yards this season, and he's going to end up 7th in the NFL in yards from scrimmage for the season. Would you take that? You would have flown to take that. I'm pretty sure. I know I would have. And now here we are a year later. He did do that. He was 4th in the NHL or NFL in rushing, 7th in yards from scrimmage. And we have questions about him. We have doubts. And I think they're very reasonable doubts. I say this about this team. 3 words. And I'm going to say it now. I'm probably going to say it more times throughout this show and all week long, too. There's an aura of uncertainty with this team. That includes Ray Davis for me. I think Ray Davis, it would not surprise me if this guy only has 100, 150 yards rushing all season. Cook is great. They trust Ty Johnson, the veteran, more, in these tighter games or whatever. He's the 2. He's the 2 on the depth chart right now. He remains at most this season. And Ray Davis barely plays. That would not surprise me. It also would not surprise me whatsoever if this guy becomes the 1B and ends up running for 600 to 750 yards this season. I like his skill set. He's a good blocker. He runs well between the tackles. He finds the end zone. At least he did in Kentucky. I kind of think he's like their younger Latavius Murray. Latavius Murray was good early on, and then he just burned out last year. I like Ty Johnson too, though. I thought he played really well when Joe Brady took over. Ty Johnson was a little bit unleashed. He came off the practice squad, and I thought that he played well. All in all, I'm with you on Cook, but I like all 3 running backs, the combination of enough that I would say this is one of the top 2 to 3 positions of strength on this team. What did you say? You were at a 7.9?
7.9.
A little bit more. I would put my score just a little bit higher than that. And then, by the way, maybe while we are a little bit concerned or not sold fully on Cook, I do think he has the ability to be a top 5 to 8 running back in this league. Especially if he can get rid of the drops and doesn't fumble the ball and he catches passes that he should catch. He's got that skill set, man, to have a great year. 8.2. That's going to be
some yards after contact would be nice too.
True. And I think Ray Davis is going to be, I think he's going to excel at that. By the way, when I said Ray Davis, it wouldn't surprise me if he only had 150 yards rushing. Actually, I lied. That would surprise me. All right, let's go to Let's go to the tight ends here quickly.
A lot of pressure on Kincaid.
A lot
of pressure on Kincaid, but there's nothing not to like about this room. You want to whine about the contract of Knox or the usage of 12 personnel when people would rather have a third receiver on the field. I'm not so sure that in this particular part of the season that I wouldn't rather have the 12 than the third receiver. But I'm not going to clamor for a third receiver on the field until Coleman's, playing up to speed. I'm not going to say, oh, I got to get Mac Hollins on the field over Dawson Knox as a blocker, let's say, even though Hollins will be listed as a starter and, who's the one that really comes off in two receiver sets. Who knows? That'll rotate, but
right.
I'm just not so sure that the combination of Knox and Kincaid isn't a better combination in some cases than Samuel and Hollins. So I'm pro 12 this year, and I guess that means that I'm pro the tight end room because I just don't think Dawson Knox sucks. So a lot of pressure on Kincaid. A good utility knife, backing him up and also seeing the field in Dawson Knox. I see. Let's touch on this because a lot of people get panicked by 12 and they wonder what'll happen when Knox is on the field and Kincaid isn't. I've got Kincaid coming in the low 70s of snap share. All right, I think last year it was like high 50s. I think this year, they find their way to a low 70s with Kincaid, and Knox drops down to low 40s, sort of thing. And I think hopefully the people that panic about Dawson Knox being not,
I like Quentin Morris
not being on the field. Yeah. If you're gonna go 3 in something big, you could do a lot worse than Quentin Morris. Although what the Bills did a lot of times with their third tight end, it was a lineman. Now that lineman is currently starting at left guard. More on that in a minute. But Morris didn't see a lot of those sets because Edwards came in.
Sure.
But yes, I agree. If there were an injury, certainly to Knox, I think Morris could handle it. Kincaid, obviously, we would lose his production, and that would be a much bigger problem than whether or not Quentin Morris can fill in for Dawson Knox, and Dawson Knox can step up. A Dalton Kincaid injury might be outside of Josh Allen, might be the type of injury that derails that offense.
Confidence number. It's tough. This is not
no. I like the position 8.3. 8.3. I'm confident because I think one of our best players on offense is in the room.
Sure.
And Dawson Knox don't suck either. You can do a lot worse than Dawson Knox. Like I don't know. Did you see on Twitter the other day somebody was talking about Andrews and Lively from Baltimore
being
as
the
best tandem, and it's not even close. And Bills fans tried to fire back. Look, I love R1-2, but it's not Andrews and Lively, okay? Like Andrews, if he's deteriorating this year, if he hits a wall and Kincaid takes a jump, then maybe we step into the argument. But I wouldn't put them there yet, but it doesn't mean I don't think they're top 5. They're definitely top 5. Two tight ends on the field at the same time.
I won't go into the weeds with the tight ends. I will say that I agree completely with what you said about pressure on Kincaid. I would venture to say after Josh Allen, he's maybe one of the 2 to 3 players on this team that's going to have the most pressure this season. But yeah, he's one of the most talented players on this team. I do think, like you, that Dawson Knox will bounce back. He's healthy. Last year, he was not healthy. Other issues too. 2 years before that, though, he had 48 catches, 49 catches, over 500 yards each year. I could see him doing that again this year He's a
Was
weapon.
it last year? Was it last year that he lost his brother?
Yeah, I think I'm almost positive it was. Yeah, and he got hurt. So he just listen. Dawson Knox is a lot to me like James Cook. There's a lot of talent there. He's got the ability to make plays, but you got to trust him. You got to trust that he's going to make the play, that he's not going to drop the ball. James Cook, Dawson Knox need to add more consistency to their game. But if they do, Dawson Knox has a really high ceiling. He could be one of the better tight end twos in this league. You said 8'3"?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go quite that high because I need to see Dalton Kincaid right now was a lot of projecting. Like just to assume, I mean, I know he had really good rookie numbers last year, but just to assume he's going to take that leap into being a guy who could have 1,000 yards receiving, who's going to start catching instead of 5 to 8 yard catches, he's going to start making 15 to 20 yard plays regularly. He's certainly got it in his wheelhouse, but I kind of feel like I need to see that a little bit. He's just going into year 2. I'm going to say 7.6 for the tight end. But I do like the upside because I do think a healthy Dawson Knox makes a big difference. He is a good player and a weapon on this team. He's just got to be consistent. Same deal with James Cook. All right, before we go to a break here, we'll go offensive line before we get to the other side of the ball.
All right, I want to speed these up. People were kind of freaking out about the youth in the within the backups. I think when La'el Collins didn't pan out, that guard tackle swing guy, made a lot of people nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And that, by the way, man, all right, for another time, but you look at Collins, you look at Edwards, and there was like one more. MVS. Man, we had some, and Claypool was some misses. We had some free agent misses, man.
Late in the process, though. But late in the Edwards was an early one. The other three are they were after the draft signings. But yeah.
Anyway,
they're misses. I'm not going to put MVS in that category. Shit, I forgot about receivers.
Yeah,
we're gonna get to them, but we're going to line first anyway.
All right, look, I do like the depth, even though they're not household names. Obviously, they're backup linemen. Just judging from what I've heard people report during camps and the trajectory of players like Alec Anderson last year and
Ryan Vandermark
and how Vandermark's another one, and how good Grable looked and stuff like that. I think there might be some real actually hidden talent on that on that second unit. The first unit, obviously I like us to tackle. I think I'm more concerned about our interior than a lot of people are. Okay. One starting guard was your third tight end last year. Now, he was a valuable piece, and he was certainly a backup guard as well. But he's been around for long enough to kind of have procured a lineup on a starting job on a line before now. And I hope that he's up to it. I just don't know. I don't know with Edwards. I'm not as high on Torrance as others, mainly because I am very fearful of year 2 drop-offs in some cases. I know Spencer Brown was injured, but I thought at the same time, Spencer Brown had a terrible second season, and maybe that's a little fresh in my head. And McGovern's at a new position. It's unsettling to me a little bit in the middle, and I need him to figure that out, because if the middle has its growing pains or regression from Torrance, and then you get hit with even just like half of a game and then the following week type injury to your tackle, all right, now you've just become a hot mess up front.
Yeah.
So that there's some concern that that could happen, but I I think you have to make these kind of predictions and grades that everybody is on the edge of their seat for. I think you got to make them based off of good health. So I will put I'll put the line a little bit lower than maybe your tight end room. I'll put the line at 7.5.
7.5. All right, two things. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills were sacked the least of any team in the NFL last year. Now, a lot of credit is Josh Allen evading sacks, of course. And all 5 guys played all 17 games last year. You cannot expect that to happen 2 years in a row. Is Mitch Morse cooked? That's the big question that we don't know, and we'll find out maybe with Jacksonville. If he's cooked and he's just a name at this point and he just simply wasn't worth the money, then I get it. But I don't like the fact that if there's one guy they got rid of that I wish they didn't, it was him, because why? What's the saying? Don't fix something that ain't broken. That's how I feel about the Bills' O-line. I'll talk about it more throughout the week, but long story short, I have little confidence right now. This is a confidence grade. This isn't whether I think they're good or not. You said confidence. My confidence level is
fair.
It's only a 5. It's only a 5. It's middle of the pack to low. A 5, I would say, is what, a C minus. If we were using a grade,
right, it's confidence within reason, though.
I think that's within reason. I a lot of the same things you said. I don't have a lot of confidence right now in Connor Montgomery being a good NFL center. I'm concerned about Torrance having to step back this year. I'm concerned if anything happens to either tackle. And David Edwards is, he's a backup last year. Now he's a starter. I got to see it. I don't have a lot of confidence.
I'm fine with that. I think it's a little bit low, but the point is, the point is made. Now we'll blow through receiver.
Yep.
Me first. I'm not sure Keon Coleman's good yet. That's concerning. Every time people want to talk about Mac Hollins, being a good quality player and deserves to be, atop a depth chart or whatever, or on the first team, and then they get right to blocking. I'm like, what the fuck are we talking about here? All right, there's, I need a healthy Curtis Samuel. I really need a healthy Curtis Samuel. I love Khalil Shakir. I think Khalil Shakir has the potential to move right into Stephon Diggs type numbers. Maybe not Stephon Diggs type territory. Certainly as far as his skills are concerned. Just again, Steph's route running and his hands for a couple of years there were just as good as anything I've ever seen.
Sure.
In the game, maybe. I couldn't believe how easily and effortlessly he caught footballs. But I think it's possible that maybe if you look at like the last couple of years stuff, certainly last year's stuff, I think Shakir has the potential from a stats perspective.
Yeah, I'll produce the back half of last year for whatever it's worth. I mean, take that with a grain of salt if you want, but
I think you might be really good. I think you might be really good. But and I definitely think that Samuel is a talented NFL football player. But if he's banged, I'm worried.
Yeah.
See, I'm still kind of more like I don't ever see myself going below 7. It's kind of it's like kind of keeping that Portnoy pizza scale out there. 7-2 in the receiver room. There's concern.
All right, quickly here. I got a lot of confidence in Shakir. I think he's a star in the making this season. I think he is a huge, legitimate, league-wide breakout candidate. Samuel, if he's healthy, I think he's going to play. They've been looking for Samuel for 3 years on this team. Between McKenzie and Hardy, they got the guy in Samuel. He's just got to be healthy in there if that turf toe is not a factor. I'm with you on Keon Coleman. I might be high on his future. I'm not high on his present. I think he's going to start slow. I think he's going to struggle to get separation early on. I don't even think he's going to play as much as people think, because I think Matt Collins is going to see the field a lot early on. And I think MVS at some point might be a factor. You said 7-2. I can't go. I can't go that high, man. I need a guy beyond. I need a guy who's actually proven a lot more than what the Bills have at receiver. So I'm going to go 6-7 for receiver. Yeah. All right. We're going to move to the defensive side of the ball now, too. All right. Do you want to do defensive line as one, or do you want to?
Yeah, we
don't have to go tackle.
We need to do defensive line as one.
All right, go ahead. Well, what do you
Definitely.
got with defensive end? By the way, I'll go back and listen to these, maybe write them down. I'm not writing down what our confidence scores are, but go ahead. So, defensive line.
Nobody cares what they are. Like it. I may like this group more than any on the team. Not the quarterback room, obviously, but I think Rousseau is ready to become an absolute stud.
He has to.
It'll help. I think Von has the potential to get, the meaningful sacks when we need them. If we're in a position, to put a team away, like better teams have been, better Bills teams have been the past few years. But I suspect, it's not like we're saving him for the fourth quarter. I think he'll be managed quite meticulously, but he'll get his snaps in obvious passing downs, and he can impact the game enough to where I'm comfortable with not what we're paying him, but what we would have had to eat. Right, that's about as comfortable as you can get. And Ebenezer is looking like a solid NFL player, and there's guys coming in, behind that group as well. With Solomon and Tuhill, who at least has played in this league as a 4. And then the tackles, if Oliver and Jones are a solid tandem.
Day 2 pick on Dwayne Carter.
Yeah, third round pick. Sometimes it takes a year to get that level of strength. An injury to Oliver or
Austin Johnson's a pretty good pickup too.
Johnson is kind of like the Tuhill of the tackles. I think we're a little better at end than tackle, a little deeper there. Maybe only because we have Von, which we wouldn't even have. If we could have got out of it, right? If we could have got out of it, we get out of it.
100%.
And then it's just comparing Epinesa and Rousseau to Oliver and Jones, and it's pretty similar. But they're good as well. I think the front 4 might be our biggest strength on this football team right now. I like them. I like the front 4 a ton.
Great.
So I gave somebody like an 8.2 or something like that. If I like the front 4, I think it's worth an 8.5.
8.5?
8.5.
Only thing I'm going to add is 2 things. I know I'm beating a dead horse here. I won't, and I know you're grading positionally and not individually, but I will say I will never be one of those people who give Ed Oliver a high grade until he does something in the playoffs. Great. He's going to go out against Tennessee in week 7, and he's going to have 2.5 sacks and a forced fumble. He'll probably put together 5 sacks over a 4-week stretch, finish with 8 or 9. Do it in the playoffs, man. Until you do, I will never grade you well. The other thought I have with this position, I held back on saying, I think not counting Josh Allen, Dalton Kincaid is the most pressure of any player on this team. Greg Rousseau's right there. He might be the non-Josh Allen guy who has to be good, most pressure on him. You said 8.6. I'll go 8.1 because too many of these guys have historically disappeared in the playoffs. So if we get to the playoffs, I'll be happy. I'll say 8.1. Linebacker. With no Matt Milano until December. I mean, you could do this how you want to do this, but he's out until December.
I'm doing it without Matt Milano. And
so am I.
It's worrisome.
Man.
It's worrisome. I guess my hope was that Morrow was going to plug in. I'm always going to.
He still might, though. That's the thing. Like, he still might. See, I mean, he didn't do shit. He was hurt. Someone I can't say he didn't do shit. Well, he didn't do shit because part of he was hurt, but he didn't do anything in the summer. But neither did Terrell Bernard last year either. I'm not saying his dude's going to be Terrell Bernard. Let's be clear on that. But he still might. I wouldn't use that his lack of doing anything this summer as saying he's not going to do anything. Maybe he don't. But
well, to me, he's the linebacker version of Mike Edwards. Someone who came in banged and just never seems to show up at the top of a depth chart. Like, hey, when you're healthy, you're our guy.
Mm-hmm.
which is not what we signed him to do. We signed him to be a backup, right? It was just, I guess, part of me thought more so than even Deion Jones, because Morrow came earlier and for more money. My thought was Moore would be the first linebacker on the field in a scenario where Milano or Bernard, had to come off it.
Fair.
And it ends up being Dorian Williams. Now, hey, there might be a gear we haven't seen from him. Well, we've probably seen the gear. We just haven't really seen it blend with the, with the with good reads and stuff like that. Maybe he just finds it, or maybe, Babbage finds a way to just let Williams, play downhill and have, limited coverage responsibilities while Bernard picks those up. McBride will be a nice, nice week 1 test for that type of coverage.
Not to insinuate he's stupid or he's a stupid player, but you're just saying play more, think less. And that's not necessarily, again, that's not a bad thing either. Kind of where you're going with Dorian. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. I stayed away from the, the high IQ type of comment. But yeah,
I'm not saying he's a dumb person. I
know. I think I delivered it perfectly. It didn't need you to back it up. I know how to have that conversation.
You said because it resonated with me, because I kind of feel the same way about how he would be best deployed.
I know.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's gonna be low. It's gonna be low. I think I'm nervous about the position.
Okay.
So I don't remember what my last low one was, but this is about a 6.5. Hey, look, if
this is your lowest, 6.5 is your lowest.
Bernard, well, we haven't gotten the kicker yet. Please, we're not getting the kicker.
I was gonna say, this show runs long. It ain't my bad. It's your bad. I'm just saying.
No. Yeah, man. Linebackers, scary. I need a healthy Terrell Bernard, and I need either Williams, to just jump off the, take a big step forward, or I need to be comfortable that they can deploy some sort of dime package that gets them out of, big passing down trouble.
Sure.
With a linebacker on the field who can't cover.
I'll say this. I like Terrell Bernard. I think he's got Pro Bowl caliber potential if he can stay healthy. He's a smallest linebacker. That concerns me, but I think his upside is a Pro Bowl caliber linebacker. He's right up there again. Most important players on this team. Dorian Williams might be, alongside maybe Dalton Kincaid, the biggest X factor to me on this entire football team right now at this point. And to draw that Ray Davis comparison, it would not surprise me if Dorian Williams becomes 80 to 85% of what Terrell Bernard became last year. That would not stun me, because this dude has athleticism and traits off the charts. That would not shock me at all. It also wouldn't shock me if he blows a couple assignments, does 1 or 2 dumb things, and Nick Morrow or who's the hell's the other guy? Braylon Spector. One of those guys end up being the starter in week 2 or week 3. Like, he's got that kind of swing potential. I feel like that's literally what an X factor is on this team. And it wouldn't, either way, it wouldn't surprise me. They ain't got much beyond. They ain't got much beyond Terrell Bernard. Here's my opinion on Morrow and who the hell's the other guy again? Spector. If he even stays healthy for 3 weeks. At best, with those 2 guys, you're getting last year's Tyrell Dotson at best. And that's at best. You're getting Dotson. Dorian Williams has, I don't want to say Terrell Bernard star potential, but he has really good athletic ability, starting caliber linebacker potential. I don't believe Spector does, and I don't believe Morrow does either. You said 6'6". I'm going to go a little bit higher, just because I think Terrell Bernard alone could carry that room to like a 7.1. Got to go. Corners and safeties have to be separate, because I got 2 completely different grades and opinions. You can't lump those in like DE and DT. Let's go corners quickly here.
Love the position. Just love it. Yep. I'm a believer in Douglas, even though I think this will be his last year as a Bill. I'm a big Christian Benford guy.
Yep.
Drinking the Khair Elam, year 3 Kool-Aid.
Yep.
And I don't think there's many better fourth corners in the league than Jamarcus Ingram. I mean, honestly, he's a 4 and he's damn good. He probably deserves to be a 3.
And not to mention they're all pro slot corner.
I know. Yeah. It's
easy to forget about him because you're talking boundary guys, but yeah, man, he's a corner.
Good. They're good there. And that helps. I'd rather be good there than safety as much as nice as it was to have the comfort of 21 and 23 through the years. I'd still rather be better at corner, man. I'd rather have my riches at corner. Now, I don't know if I've got riches, I got depth, and I've got quality. I got quality. I don't know that I've got riches. So that's, it's not going to push, up to where like the quarterback is, or even maybe the defensive line. You know what though, man? I because I like both so much, I think match it with my defensive line and give it an 8.5. I love our corners.
I think it's the best.
I love our corners.
It's the deepest position on this football team. The best position on this team to me, beyond quarterback. They won me over this summer because Elam and Ingram won me over. I wouldn't have felt that way about a month and a half ago. Safety. Let's go there. I really don't got much stat about the corners.
Well,
said it.
You know what? I spoke a lot of my piece on safety when we talked about the depth chart. It's very fluid right now. The staple is Taylor Rapp, and he's a pretty mid NFL player. It's an issue. Man. So I love us at on the defensive line, and I love us at corner, and I'm worried about linebacker, and I'm worried about safety, and linebackers and safeties is your middle of the field. Whatever, 6, the same old 6'5"
really
type shit. I do think Cole Bishop.
You're in a better mood than I am.
Yeah, but I don't like when you skewed the whole model when you gave a 5. You fucked everything with the 5.
Why?
Huh?
I don't have a lot of confidence in the offensive line. I got news for you. I got less confidence in this position.
All right,
than I do the offensive line.
Get to it then.
I don't have any confidence in Taylor Rapp being a good safety. He had a really good end of the season last year against Miami. Big finale, but he was not that good last year. He was handed the starting job, and I don't like any of these other safeties right now. Now, I might eventually like Cole Bishop, promise, but dude is a rookie, and he has not played. He didn't play obviously a snap of the preseason. He's going to be a rookie having to play out there, whether he starts or whether he comes in certain packages. That concerns me. The fact that Mike Edwards, we talked about him already, where he is on the depth chart, that concerns me. I like Damar Hamlin. Him being a starter, that concerns me. Damar Hamlin and Taylor Rapp are backups. They are at best borderline starters. At best, they're borderline starters. In reality, on good teams with good defenses, they are serviceable backups. And both of them are starting. Both of them are probably going to start. Rapp for sure, and probably Hamlin. So my confidence level on that position is like a 3.5. I have no confidence in that position. I think the biggest mistake, Brandon, being made all offseason, 2 mistakes. 2 things I wish the Bills could do over real quick here. A, bring back Mitch Morse. Unless he's cooked and I don't know it. Or B, they should have signed Justin Simmons. Find a way to get that money. I don't know. Brandon Ayuk was never going to happen. That's ridiculous money. But 1 year, $8 million, couple void years, you couldn't have made that happen. And he was out there for a long ass time. And these guys are just hurt and they're not that good except for Bishop maybe to begin with. So I have no confidence in the Bills safety position. Do you want to do special teams as a whole one?
No.
You want to just throw out a confidence number without having to elaborate?
5.
I had a take on my show yesterday with Joe, by the way, who's lurking, and he called me Pandering Pat already on the chat. But I told him my bold prediction was with special teams, Tyler Bass will not be on this team before the season's over. I think he might be lost, man. I think he might miss a couple kicks at some point during the season. One of them may be really costly. And I think Brandon Bean at that point is going to have his hand forced. And you said what, 5?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I thought your bar was only 6.5. So No bar with him with
Well, I
special teams.
don't care about.
Okay, well,
No, I mean, of course I care about him, but yeah, okay. That if there's one where my confidence is low, it's going to be where the kicker can't seem to make important kicks.
Yeah,
big problem.
And I also don't trust the punter either.
Big problem.
Reed Ferguson's fine, but I don't trust the punter very much either. So, and I don't know anything about Kodrich in the kick returner. Hopefully he'll be good. But anyway, yeah, my confidence level in special teams is like a 4.5. All right, so that's the positions in confidence level grades there. What about because again, you're on tonight. I'll be doing this for the next few days, but what's your Buffalo Bills? Like, what's your expectations right now with this team? We went position by position, kind of like tie it together right now. Well, the season's getting ready to start. What is your season Buffalo Bills expectation or expectations?
Get in the tournament. Sorry, I kind of prepared that answer before you finished the question. Do I think they'll get in the tournament? I don't do those. I don't. I'm focused on one bit of Bills information right now. I've got one thing carved out in my mind, and it's all my mind is on right now. Get to a minimum of 2-1 out of the gate. It's it.
Got a hot take for you coming up.
It's
not my take.
Minimum 2-1 out of the gate.
Okay.
All right. It is so crucial. Look, the first 3, you're not going to make your season in the first few weeks, but I'm telling you, with what's lurking after that 3-game opening stretch, you can lose your season in the first 3 weeks, because if they go 1-2, okay, if Miami beats them, and Miami's going to be favored, okay, Miami's going to be favored. They already are. All right, lines are out weeks 1 through 17 or 18 or whatever. They're all Miami is a favorite right now.
Right now, sure.
Okay, and if the Bills should drop one of that one and one of the home ones, it's panic time, because there is a stretch of games coming up on the road that's going to absolutely leave you at 2-4. It's going to absolutely leave you at 2-4. And now you're fighting uphill all season long. I just need this team to, it's a must win. It's a must win this Sunday.
It is. That's not outrageous.
It's not outrageous.
You can't lose at home to Arizona. You can't. Not with the schedule. I agree with you there.
Cannot.
It's a big. This is not what I wanted to see on the schedule. Like, I didn't want this game first, because you're right. Right off the bat, week 1, this is a must win. You said the Bills got to start 2-1. Let me tell you, by the way, shout out Sal Capaccio. I went to Sport City Pizza Pub earlier, and he had a show, Sal's House. I was on there. I had a bunch of media people on there. One of them was Josh Reed, and Sal went around asking for hot takes. You know what Josh's hot take was? He said the Bills are going to be 6-2 after their first 8 games. I was like, well, I started thinking of you right away, because I know you've talked about this. Arizona, Miami, Jacksonville, he gives the Bills all 3 of those games. And then he said between Baltimore, Houston, and the Jets all on the road, you can lose even if you win one of those 3. But then you beat Tennessee and Seattle. Tennessee at home, and Seattle's not good.
Seattle is good. Stop. Seattle's fine.
They're fine. All right, they're fine. They're competition. They're adequate. Let's just put it that way. They're not fucking world beaters by any means.
They're a tough place to go win a football game.
You can start 3-0. I mean, Josh Allen, history does mean something.
2-1 is a bare minimum.
I still can't believe Miami would be favored. I believe you, but that surprises me that Miami would be favored right now in week 2. The way Josh Allen has played against Miami, he's literally owned, and it's not even me being a homer. These are facts. Josh Allen has owned him or that team. Arizona, you got to beat, and you got Jacksonville at home. 3-0 was very feasible. Then you do go into a tough stretch. Again, Baltimore, Houston, Jets, all on the road. Win one of those 3, and you beat Seattle and Tennessee, and you're 6-2. Worst case, you lose to Seattle, but you win one of those 3 tough games, you're still 5-3. So, I don't know. One thing that you said, though, that does resonate with me about climbing uphill. Let's just say you are right. Let's say they were 2-4 or something like that after 6 games. this is what does scare me about this football team. Last year, even when they were 5-5, or what, they were 6-6, right? At one point, there weren't a lot of veterans in that locker room. There was no panic. You know, the Micah Hydes and the Poyers and the Mitch Morrises, stuff like that. I don't know that that's there this year. Like, can they overcome? They overcame a lot of adversity last year, and I'm sure their veteran leadership had a lot to do with that. I don't know that they do that this year if they fall.
What else had a lot to do with that is outside of Dallas, they played absolute shit teams down the stretch. That's what had to do
Well,
with
no,
it.
they beat the Kansas City Chiefs on the road, though.
I'm talking about down the stretch
Okay.
get to, leading up to Miami. When they needed those 5 games, 3 of them were cupcakes.
Sure.
All right. When they were 6-6 and needed 5 games, we all knew that 3 of them were cupcakes. We were a little nervous about the Chargers, but they didn't have Herbert. They needed to beat Dallas and Miami, and they did, and credit to them. And will this year's version of the Bills be able to bounce back from a 6-6? Absolutely not. No, I don't think they could.
Do you have
nor is the schedule that easy.
So all right. So you're talking about what your expectations are. You're not going to offer a prediction on a record?
Yeah, all right, here. I'll put it to you this way. If I had to put it out a prediction on the record out there, and it's like $500 if you get it right. You just got to predict it. So at least try. You can't. There's no loss. I will give you $500 if you get it right.
Okay.
10-7.
I would go one better, 11-6. That's how I feel right now. I think Josh Allen. I think this offense. I think there's more questions on the defense than the offense, because I think the safety position is that bad, and I'm concerned about the linebackers, especially if anything happens to Terrell Bernard. I think there's more question marks there than there is with the offense, because Josh Allen could just straight up mask some of your deficiencies, with the offensive line and pass blocking, or if you can't run the ball, whatever. You know what I mean? I think he can make up for deficiencies. I would say 11-6, but I ain't gonna lie. I wouldn't be stunned either if this team went 8-9 this year. Certainly a couple bad breaks, an injury, and I'm not even talking about to Josh, just other injuries, things like that, or those tough parts of the schedule. They could fall out early, and who knows from that point.
Hot takes. Hey, I think people have absolutely filled up on their celery and cream cheese.
Such a way of saying we're done here.
That Jets shit. Look, I get
we'll
it.
talk about that.
You don't like the Jets getting a lot of love, and I understand.
I'll talk about that later this week. It's not. It befuddles me a little bit that they are being projected to be as high as they are by most teams. I got questions. Well, we won't dive into the Jets today. Tell you this before we get out of here. Is there anything that you wanted to hit on that we haven't? Any quick WNBA shit, baseball stuff?
I wanted to do a rapid fire because there are things out there in the sports world right now that are fun, and I'm having fun with them.
I told you this was going to go long.
I don't want to, though. Nobody cares what I think about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, and certainly nobody cares what I think about the AL Central.
I do want to point
what
one
else
thing
out there.
There is one thing that nobody, well, I shouldn't say nobody, the baseball purists like you probably talk about it, but I don't see much of it on Twitter. I had to look this up before we went on the air, and that's involving the Chicago White Sox. Because we're too far into the show now. I don't want to get into baseball stuff other than Bobby Witt's going to ruin Aaron Judge's triple crown in the AL. But aside from that, I looked it up with the White Sox. So as you record this, I don't know how they did here on Tuesday night, but 31-108. They have a winning percentage of .223. They only got to go 10-13 over their last 23 games to finish with the worst record in the history of Major League Baseball, the most losses in the history of Major League Baseball. The Mets had 120 losses all the way back in 1962. And if the Chicago White Sox played just a little less than 500 ball the rest of the way here over the last 20-some games, they're going to beat that record. That's pretty fucking... That's some fertility right there, man.
It's an insane nosedive for them from where they were 2 or 3 years ago. They were young in a lot of the right places. They were, I loved them. I had a lot of action on them a couple years ago, and it just just never came together. But yeah, I mean, teams with those sort of records are bananas. But hey, what's cool is the fact that 3 of the teams beating up on the White Sox are the Royals, Guardians, and Twins. And I think it's a pretty safe bet that we're going to have postseason. The Twins have been around, but I think it's a pretty safe bet that we'll have postseason baseball in Cleveland and Kansas City. And I like AL Central type of ball. So I'm looking forward to it. And the race between the O's and the Yanks is going to be a really good race.
Yeah. Half a game as we record this anyway.
I got a lot of action on the O's division, AL, and series. So winning the division would definitely put them in a good spot to play fewer games to have to get there. But yeah, I'm hoping it keeps my interest. The NFL just comes in, and just wrecks shop, as far as social interests are concerned. I struggle sometimes, especially with 2 little ones, man. I struggle sometimes to stay up on the baseball, once the monster that is the NFL takes over. But I'm hoping to stay up on it this year and maybe even take the little jaunt to Cleveland for a playoff game, which you're invited to, but you'll say no because you've just so busy. He's so busy with the podcast, like you can't take a day off and go to a Major League Baseball, playoff game. We didn't even talk about Ryan Clark's comments today.
Nope, we didn't. Or Stephon Diggs' comments from GQ either.
We just broke down the Bills fucking roster for an hour, but I guess that's kind of what I wanted. So I'm glad I had a chance to do that. And maybe some of the things I'll say will enable me to do one of my favorite things, which is, to do an I told you so once things start going.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode for Tone Pucks Up, Pat Moran. Again, Sunny Reds tomorrow night, 8 p.m. live. Howard Simon and Matt Perino.